Man, peace to the gods. Peace, peace, peace. Y'all see what happened in America consistently since you've been alive, right? Since you've been alive, same things have been happening. It's been the same thing the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has said going to happen, right? Same thing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan continues to say going to happen, and the same thing the Nation of Islam is here for in the first place, because America is America, right? We can play activists, we can play revolutionary all day, but we already got our instructions. We already got it from the highest level, right? Your feelings, thought processes, ideologies, and perceptions towards the Nation of Islam matters to me not. The solutions have all came out of that place. We talked about separation. We talked about who the devil was. You understand me? We tell you about how America works. We tell you about the boys in the blue. We tell you about systematic oppression, white supremacy. We tell you about the media, the shadow government. We tell you about all of these control mechanisms and the dangers of America, right? We tell you about who you are as a God, trying to get you to remember yourself so you can act accordingly to your nature. Yet we still want to act surprised. Memphis is a dangerous city. Brother Young Dolph got killed there. You understand me? And a multitude of other young black men continue to go to prison consistently on a day-to-day basis because white supremacy is working so well on us psychologically. We murder each other, they murder us. The gangs in the streets and the gangs in police. I got to ask you, because we know Memphis is a high murder rate city. Cats is killing each other all day. There's gangs in the streets who literally, they got blood oaths against it. Songs like Get It Out, Get It in Blood. What you think that's about? It's about murdering each other, right? Instead of those cops, they not always in the street gangs. Some of them black men decided to join the police gang. And they doing the same thing the street gangs do, is murder. So when we talk about, because that's blue on black crime right there. You understand me? But when we talk about, black life cannot defend its value. It ain't about whether it matters or not. We know Black Lives Matter. That's a statement that doesn't really have value because that isn't obvious to us, at least. To our enemy, I'm not trying to convince my enemy of anything, but it's about defending the value. Black life has value, and defending the value, right, is the conversation. That's the whole conversation, is defending the value of black life. And so we're no longer defenders and protectors of black life. We are destroyers and neglectors of black life. We say music reflects culture, right? Well, if music reflects culture, then that means that we have a culture that does not reflect life and respects death more than it does life. I call it necromantic, the romanticizing of death. Necromancy is death magic. And that's what we propagate because of us being a backwards people. I was listening to my brother, Alex Good Energy, and he was talking about how he has this circle. And he said, we got a circle, it's 5 of us. And we made an oath to each other. Everybody's up, everybody's doing good, everybody living good. And he say, if any one of us makes a bad financial decision in a bad place for whatever reason, every one of those people in that circle decided that they'd get a brother at least $100,000 to $200,000 to help them out of whatever bind that they found themselves in. And he said, because of that, we're able to sleep at night gratefully. We're able to sleep at night, and rest as a black man, knowing other black men have our back. And I had to think about that. I said, damn, man, that's a cold statement because it's powerful. It's not about the money. It's about other black men having your back. See, police officers get to sleep at night knowing other police officers have their back. Gang members sleep at night knowing gang members have their back. But if you're not in a gang as a black man in America, Who has your back? Who? When you have to face the world alone, your decisions change, right? Because you have to look out for yourself. And a man that has to be selfish in his endeavor to protect himself, his decisions don't look the same as somebody who has backup. So he may choose to mind his business when he could jump into something to help somebody else. But he say, well, who gonna help me if I help them? We choose to look out for each other. Same thing in the NOI, Nation Islam. You can sleep good at night knowing a brother got your back.
Let's get it, man. Let's get that to the spot, man. It took forever.
So we talk about unity and change, but it ain't gonna come from rioting. It ain't gonna come from protesting. It's gonna come from having each other back. The great Dane Dash, man, I was talking to him, and we got an event in Oakland on the 21st, and it's all about sticking together. You know, we do business together. Ain't nobody ever charged me for an interview, and I'm not gonna get charged for nothing because I won't do them. Because having a high-level conversation is free. I take my money and I spend it to produce it and give it to the world for free. And he ain't asked for a dime. He sat there and we had the greatest conversation because we recognize something. Wealth is integrity. You know, it costs to live and it costs to die in this country. Funerals cost money, and it costs like $15,000 to give birth to a baby in this country. Life and death has value. It's costly to us, and we don't even get insurance. But when we stick together and we have each other back, it changes the way we can live. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about really having each other back. It really gets that simple, but we have to get to the practices, right, of a good culture. Culture don't mean shit if it ain't good. But we perceive the world through our values, our identity, our cultural values. That's the way we lock in our ideas towards reality. But it has to be everyone backed by somebody. And it starts with black men, because when black men back each other, you have the might and force to protect the black woman. What you got to understand, you can't protect the black woman until you back each other. Why? Because how many times can you protect somebody? You stand out there, something happened to a black woman, you go out there and you meddle with it, and you say, well, anytime I see something, I got to do something. When you only get one time, and if nobody comes to your back, that black man is killed. Now, how you gonna protect another black woman? Or he's in jail. Nobody can help him pay, the lawyer fees. No, it's black men protecting each other in a sense, or having each other back, rather, that allows you the opportunity and the privilege, right, to enact in your natural right, which is to protect our women. So you're not gonna find a black man that's a general here, or one that's a soldier, and his woman is unprotected. I mean, you crazy as hell. Because they know that if they touch him, he got soldiers, and if they touch his woman, them same soldiers got her as well. It's an order and a structure. So you gotta go and have these conversations with your bros. Yes, we can go out to the club together. Y'all can go out and chase some hoes together. Y'all can go out, go buy clothes and shop and do all this other shit. But do y'all have each other back? And that has to be a real conversation. And if you don't trust that this person has your back, or has the even testicular fortitude to hold you down, then they not even worth being your brother. They not worth being your brother. You don't even need to know them. I don't even want to. If you can't hold me down, I want to know you. I don't give a fuck about how cool you is, how fly you dress. I don't care about your clout, your influence, your money, none of that. If we can't have each other back and we don't swear an oath to each other, because remember, the oath keepers, those are the police officers. The oath keepers, that's the gang members. So we have to swear oaths to each other. This is more powerful than going into any street in America and tearing it up. This is more powerful than any of that shit that we about to do over this weekend. It's swearing oaths to each other. I ride with you, bro. Anything happen, this is what I can do in that situation. To being honest, everybody ain't soldiers. So everybody can't do no soldier shit. Everybody can't be like, bro, I'm gonna get revenge for you. Come on, man, you soft, bro. You ain't got that in you. But give what you can. Swearing oaths truthfully on what you can actually do. Sometimes, like I said, we got financial soldiers out here where I can be there for you financially. Something happen, you know, I'm gonna help take care of the lawyer fees. I'm gonna help take care of the medical situation. Whatever happened, I got you. You know? So protests don't start in the street, man. They start in our circles. So I hope y'all getting this message, man. And I hope y'all understanding that, because when I say, you know, self-love it's the answer. Because if I love myself, I love my brother. Because I want for myself, I want for my brother. Right? Black women, y'all have the power to affirm and encourage black men to stick together. Because when black men stick together, I'm not talking about niggas. See, a nigga ain't gonna do shit for you and there's no happy ending with a nigga. Y'all, we make fun of hotep, which means to be at peace. So if you find a black man at peace, it's made fun of. Right? A black man that's conscious, which means to be aware. So if you find a black man that's aware, right, it's made fun of. So how can you find a good man if you don't want one that's at peace and that's aware? Because those are the ones that's going to honor each other and stick together. Those are the ones. But if you want a nigga, you can't have expectation that a nigga ever go fulfill any of your dreams. A nigga can't do that, man. This is God business. Y'all got to understand, man, what we deal with in America as black men, man, this type of shit that can make men, like it, y'all, I don't think most people really understand what it's like. Well, of course you don't understand. I don't think people have an idea of what it's like to try to find and be at peace as a black man. You know, the responsibility that we have. You know, because the reason that most young black males are afraid to be a black man because of the responsibility and the toxicity so-called attached to it. We see the world dogging black men, but then when we die, everybody tries to benefit off our death. I still have yet to see large institutional programs geared towards black males. And that's because the world ain't gonna do it for us. We have to do it for us. If there has not been no empathy in the last 500 years from the world, that means we have to do it. We have to do it. That's the message that the world gives us. We have to do it. That's it. We have to do it. I want y'all to understand that. I woke up this morning and I affirmed myself this morning. I am a God. I am a God. I'm powerful. I'm worthy. I'm a decent human being. I had to affirm myself because what I'm trying to do is break the spells of the programming in the world. Every single day, you got to come back home and affirm yourself in the morning and at night. You got to affirm yourself. Because the psychological programming in the world is that you ain't worth shit unless you did. So I got to break in those spells that they try to put on my mind from what I see in the media. Or I see, you know what that psychologically does to see 5 black men beat another black man to death? That's not good. That's traumatic and triggering on all levels I can think of. And we gonna spread that. That's trauma porn that we spread. I don't need to see it. I done seen it before. I know how bad America is. Why are we spreading that shit? Y'all don't even know when we participating in white supremacy. Those are propaganda images of white supremacy because it destroys the spirit of the black man. It decreases your very testosterone just to see it. It's psychological warfare that those images are in your mind, increasing the amount of fear in reality. Fear becomes your God. So we have to even change the way we operate. As Dame Dash was saying, we done threw every punch, so they already know that's coming. Soon as something happened, they got a playbook to deal with the marches. They have a playbook to deal with the activism, to deal with the protests. Unless you do something new. The only thing ain't work is sticking together. We don't need to go out there and destroy nothing. We need to have come together days. Because if the hood don't get shit together, who gives a fuck? The murder rate is still high in Memphis. That was one black man that died. His death is just as important as the other black men that's going to get killed in that city because they got feuds. See, Nation Islam, man. People don't like the Nation Islam, but if you got a young boy, man, that's the best place for you to go take them and get them some training. If I didn't get that FOI training, it was just Fruit of Islam, which is the military branch of the Nation Islam when I was younger, man, I would not have the mind to be sane in this world. Forget being a high-level thinker or achiever or anything else of my accomplishments. I wouldn't be sane. This is why you think there's so many black men that's on drugs. That we have the highest rate of death and disease amongst all groups because you are coping with reality. You're trying to find something to control because everything else is out of your control. Every young man, yes, go to the NOI.org. There is a chapter everywhere. I ain't saying you got to be a Muslim. I'm saying go get the training. Go introduce them and expose them to men who are striving to be better. I ain't saying these are perfect men. I'm saying that these are brothers that are striving to be better. This is what most people are missing. Some discipline, some training, some enforcement in their life to know how to deal with situations, know the proper handling of people, know how to move throughout this world to avoid getting caught up by what we already know about this world. The institution of America police order will never be something that works for us because of the inception. You cannot change something at its branch. You have to change it at its root. You have to change it at its root. You cannot have an institution that was created to catch and kill slaves that are young black men and women to protect the property of owners, slave owners. And they created oaths for that and they get paid for that and then build a business on top of that. And that becomes the army of America locally. And you think you're going to change that by joining it. I had a young black officer reached out to me and say, man, I'm making it look cool. Man, it ain't about looking cool. Once you join that and you join that to make a change, you are joining that and you're going at war with the white supremacy within it. You're joining a cancer as a good cell and you saying that I'm here to fight in this cancerous environment. If the culture of the police inside the police department isn't to fight against the system of the police culture to make a change at a root level, then nothing will change. Fighting against a few bad apples does not change the rotten core of the institution. So we have to have each other back. That's the oath we have to take towards each other. We have to atone with each other, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan tried to get everybody to do during the Million Man March when he gathered 2 million black men together. But see, now we can gather 2 million black men together as well. It don't have to be physically, but we can create a movement to where we're writing oaths to each other. We swear to have each other back mentally, spiritually, physically, and financially. We got us. And when we got us, women, we got y'all. A black woman can only be disrespected if her man not respected. A black woman can only be unprotected if her man is not a protector or protected. That's just the way it works. So oftentimes we look at the effect and ignore the cause. So we on social media, on the podcast, and arguing about the effects because we in 2023, but we ignoring the causes that make them that way. So you can argue about the causes all day long. I said NOI.org. That's the website. It's about the go look at how these things get started. Then it should be no argument within each other because we gonna realize like, damn, we didn't start none of this shit. We are part of the effects of it. Oh, congratulations, I am Bree Joy. So, I was just with my family yesterday. I flew out to Atlanta. And, I had a chef for them. We got the crib. And we had a family business meeting. And we sat at that family business meeting, and we talked about the vision for the future. And, my older brother, I don't talk about him a lot, but my older brother has kind of lost his mind a little bit, being in and out of jail, back and forth, traumatic events, different situations. So I was in Oakland and I was looking for him. And my brother was a brilliant black man, has his mind. I'm talking about graduated at 15 in college by 16 and what taught me the game, right? But as I looked at that table and I'm running a family business, he couldn't be there, And for a very long time, I have to step up and be the man in the family. So it makes you age or mature faster. And in running that, I thought about like, damn, my family can depend on me. But there's so many households in America who can't depend on each other. You can't depend on your brother if you needed him. We can depend on each other, man, if we going out. We can depend on each other if we talking about some women. We can depend on each other. We doing something that don't matter. But anything real, how many of your brothers go show up when it's business time though? When it's war time? You wouldn't depend on them. Why? Because they can say that in spirit, but if they don't have training, they become a liability. So this is why during that George Floyd protest, I had the brothers lined up and we was teaching about training because it's the training regimen. You understand me? That sets you up. I ain't saying you got to be out there on the front line, but Huey P. Newton said it one time, man. He said it's reactionary suicide and revolutionary suicide. Reactionary suicide is what happens when we die because of oppression. Reactionary suicide is what happens when we die because of, systematic violence in prison and things of that nature, and systematic poverty and things of that nature. That's reactionary suicide. But he said revolutionary suicide is when you die fighting against it. Man, and I thought it was so profound on what he was talking about. I said, damn. In his book, he was describing Oakland, and Oakland sounded just like Oakland it is today. And he was describing his life and the way he grew up, and it sounded just like my life and the way I grew up. And he was assigning the issues and conditions in America, and it sounds just like the issues and conditions in America today. So I say, I don't want to be like Huey P. Newton, because that's who Huey P. Newton was at that time before he learned. Right up to that point of death, we stopped learning right there at death. So we get to study his life and say, well, what can we do new? Do we got to throw a different kind of punch today? Because they used to that. They ready for that. They got their guard up, ready to block that one. So I would rather live a life in opposition, because those are the people who live free. You can only live free. The biggest prison in the world is fear. That's how you build the bars of any prison, is through fear. Right? But the man who's fearless is free. Y'all know y'all wish that we controlled and ran what we do. You wish you when you walked outside and you look at the institutions in the world, that it was made and customized for us, but it's not. So we try to fit ourselves into a world that wasn't made for us. And the builders, and we physically built this world, but not mentally, which is different. We built somebody else's designs and plans. So stop asking about my nose. It's just to help me breathe. That's all, man. Get you one. So we have to be at this place. But yes, it's definitely about faith over fear. And it's about intelligence and training as well. And protocol and standards and culture and rites and rituals. Because if we don't have those, we can't build the habits that create something new. You don't just have a goal for something new. You have habits for something new. The habits change the condition. The habits are the cause, which changes the effect. So you can say, I want unity, but if you don't have the habits of solidarity, inclusion, right? Self-love, you can't build unity. The habits build it. So I study the habits of every culture that has figured it out. And I say, I don't want the unity is the result, but the process, getting there, it should be the focus. And that process has to be day to day. Otherwise, you won't enjoy life until you get the so-called reward. It's like rewarding yourself. There's psychologically, we believe that the idea of, let's say if you want to focus, so you say, well, I'm going to use my phone after I complete this task. Psychologically, it can't get you to that task. But what you do is you delay, right? That dopamine, you delay enjoyment until the result. Meaning that you can't appreciate the journey until you get to the destination. And so what we have to learn how to do is enjoy the process of rebuilding. Enjoy the process of renewal, right? Enjoy the process of what unity and inclusion and solidarity looks like. Because everybody is waiting for it to happen. And so everybody's depressed until it does. No, it has to be enjoying the process. And it starts with having each other back. And it starts with, having oaths towards each other and reinvesting into those principles. And I know for a fact we tired of the world the way it is. We look at the podcast. There's a reason we talk about relationships and unity and masculine and femininity and sexuality and financial issues all day long. Because these are the conversations, right, that are reflective of the effects that we've went through. And we finally got a voice. What you thought it was going to sound like? We've been shut out from controlling media for so long. So you may want people to shut up on these podcasts, but these people just got a voice. When people are new at something, right, they're going to do what they've been wanting to do this whole entire time. So, yeah, I may get tired of hearing it, but I'm not tired of us having a voice. It's like hip hop. I may get tired of hearing rap gang talk about bullshit, but I'm not tired of us having a voice. And so the problem is not having the podcast. The problem is not having hip hop. The problem is that we haven't created habits and conditions to where we can talk about something else. We can reflect something different. Because we want the institutions to be there. We want the media to be there so that the day comes when we reflect in something of value, we have these medias. And we have these mediums to do it from. So we got to be careful complaining about the little bit that we do got. Because we can destroy the very tools that we can utilize because of now, look at the solution. Now, if we can take all of what you consider to be these annoying podcasts, or y'all consider these to be these toxic rappers, what do we have to do? Man, we can go on there. We can get everybody on the same page and get them to take an oath to switch up the value. And then that changes conditions overnight. So now what you're looking at are bases that we can utilize in a war. Now, I don't want you to cut it off. I want you to switch it up. I don't want you to stop rapping, but I want you to, just change the frequency a bit. So we are in position, but we have to change what we do with our position so that we get different effects from our causes. There's so many of us that are in position, but we're not using our position because we haven't figured out an oath and a plan and an agenda that we can fit in. But just stay in your position. And when the time comes, you'll know what to do. You'll know how to start switching it up a little bit. That's all. But we have to be patient because nothing happens overnight. But this is part of the process. And I see change. I see shifts. Right? In the mentality and the mindset of our people and peoples around the world. We have more power than we've ever had. Right? It's about our power is decentralized. It's not centralized.